Hey, it is Coach Jamila, and for those of you that haven't met me yet, I am a transformation life coach. I serve women who are focused, determined go-getters who struggle with feelings of unworthiness or being unlovable. So today's video, I am talking about when you never feel good enough. And I've got notes because this is live and I don't want to, get off track. And I also want to try to keep the video under 10 minutes so I can also share it on Instagram. So one of the things that kind of can start this process of not feeling good enough could be, and these are some questions to ask yourself. When you were a child, did you experience a lot of criticism? Maybe your parents were overly critical or nitpicked you, or maybe even older family members picked on you, and maybe you grew up feeling like no matter what you did, it wasn't good enough. Maybe you always got in trouble, for just whatever it is that you did. And so it's kind of like you kept getting your hand slapped, and so you kind of got to the point where it's like, man, no matter what I do, it's not good enough. So when you grew up, here these individuals are no longer in your life, but you kind of took over. And now you kind of nitpick at yourself and criticize yourself and constantly go, oh, I got to be better, faster, smarter, better, stronger, always pushing and pushing and pushing yourself. If that sounds like you, like I said, this video is for you. Now, there's nothing wrong with recognizing the need to continue improving and wanting to be better, a better person, right? But at some point, you have to be able to stop and celebrate when you've experienced success. When you've accomplished something, that's okay. Positive reinforcement always yields better results than, like browbeating yourself or nitpicking yourself. So, even though you struggle with these feelings of not being good enough, there are some good things about you. A lot of times the things that work against us have a flip side where we actually develop some gifts. And so some of the gifts that you may have developed from feeling this way is you're probably very driven. You're probably an overachiever. You've probably done a lot of amazing things, and the people in your life know that they can absolutely count on you for anything, that you're always going to go above and beyond. So those are some of the beautiful things that can come out of this place of hurt or pain. But the problem with this, when you don't feel good enough, is that nobody can go full steam ahead all the time, right? At some point, it's going to maybe manifest itself in your body. I mean, do you have something weird going on that you can't explain that's triggered by stress? Or do you find yourself rebelling against yourself, like basically having this list of things in your head that you have to do, but all you're going to do is just sit on the couch and vegetate and do nothing, like you just check out? And then all you do is feel guilty for all the time you wasted when you could have been doing all these other things. So it's like this vicious cycle. But those are all indicators that you are pushing yourself because you just don't feel like what you are doing or what you have done is ever going to be good enough. So how do you overcome this? So the first thing you have to do is you have to allow yourself to celebrate your success. And so I have a little exercise for you. I want you to, you can pause this, if you're watching the replay, if you're watching it live, you may have to watch the replay because perhaps you don't have paper in front of you right now. But I want you to get a piece of paper and I want you to just start with a list of your achievements and accomplishments. Now, don't confuse happiness over a job well done with being conceited or arrogant, because see, conceit or arrogance, that's false confidence. That's what people who are severely insecure use to hide the fact that they really don't have a clue about who they are or what they're doing. And that's not you. That's not who we're talking about, okay? So you're so far to the left or the right, whichever direction you want to go on, not feeling good enough, that by you simply making a list of your accomplishments, you're not going to swing all the way over here and start thinking too much of yourself. That's not possible because you're so far. You may get here. We want you to be in the healthy zone, okay? Because you do need to have some measure of value within yourself and recognize that your best is good enough, okay? So that's the first thing I want you to do, is to make a list of your accomplishments. And then once you make that list, okay, I want you to just kind of sit with it and allow yourself to marinate on the things that you've done. And especially if you're a business owner, if you have any testimonials, that your clients have written for you, I want you to include that too. Read through it and allow yourself to just stop and sit and think for a minute. What if it's all true? What if all of these amazing, wonderful things that I've done and all of these kind and, great things that people have said about me are true, and I'm actually pretty awesome? Like I said, this is not arrogance or conceit. This is just a recognition that you're okay. You don't have to keep driving yourself like you're some, just browbeating yourself as if somehow you're gonna reach this destination where there doesn't exist, because you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing. You have no limit. So stop. Look at what you've done and be happy about it. It's okay to feel good about the good that you've done. It's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that, okay? Now, the second point I want you to do in order to start feeling like you're good enough is I want you to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made as a result of immaturity, lack of knowledge, lack of good judgment, etc. Everybody makes mistakes. But see, when you feel like you're not good enough, you take that mistake to a whole new level in how you begin to treat yourself as a result of that mistake. You just keep bringing it up. Oh, I'm not going to do that again. I'm not going, and you get into this like negative brain loop. So just don't do that. Because how could you ever feel good enough or good about yourself when you're constantly fussing or yelling or being negative at yourself? How's that going to motivate you? If someone was talking to you like that, would you feel like, oh, I'm going to go out there and do a job well done? No, you're going to be like, eh. So don't do that to yourself, okay? Forgive yourself for the mistakes that you've made. We all make them. Here's the thing. Did you learn the lesson? Yeah. Did you never do it again? Yeah. Okay, then be happy about that. You learned the lesson. You're moving forward. You're never going to do it again. It's okay. Now, the third tip I'm going to give you, and I kind of touched on it already, and this is actually the hardest one, because you actually have to change the conversation that you're having in your head. You have to stop this negative self-talk, this constant fussing and browbeating of yourself and putting yourself down and telling yourself that, you're not good enough. This isn't good enough. I could be doing more. I should be doing more. You're just always doing that. And so, see, the problem with that is if you keep doing that, then when do you ever get to feel a sense of satisfaction? When do you ever get to feel a sense of contentment? You don't, because you're always pushing yourself. And what happens is you really push yourself beyond your limits. And then that is when, like I mentioned earlier, you begin to rebel and you just vegetate, which makes things worse, and you feel guilty. And like I said, it's this vicious cycle. So start actually telling yourself what you want to hear. Now, a good way to do this is typically overachievers who don't feel good enough, they're really good at being there for others. So imagine you're talking to someone else, and how would you encourage them? How would you support them? And start speaking that way to yourself. Think about if someone came to you with the issue that you're having, how would you respond to them to help them continue to move forward and feel good and positive and motivated? Give it back to yourself, right? It's so easy to give it away to others, right? But we usually don't do it for ourselves. So you're going to need to do it for yourself. This is step 3. And here's the thing. By telling yourself these things, these positive things over and over, eventually what's going to happen is you're going to start to believe it. And oh my goodness, what if that happened, right? So you might actually start to feel good enough because that's what you're telling yourself. You're believing it. You're feeling it. And here's the thing. How crazy would it be if you actually felt good enough as the woman you are in your own skin, but getting better and better all the time? Because of course, yes, we all have room to continue growing and improving, but we do have to feel a sense of our best is good enough, right? Not complacency, just satisfaction. Hope that makes sense. Now, if you yourself struggle with these feelings, of not feeling good enough, like I mentioned earlier, I work with women who struggle with this, that are overachievers, go-getters that are driven, but tend to also overgive because they feel like either they aren't good enough or nothing they could do is ever good enough. And this is an area where I've coached dozens of women around. And so if you yourself would like to talk with me one-on-one about what it is you're struggling with, absolutely book a free 2-hour powerful coaching session with me. And we'll dig in and we'll get to the bottom of it, and we'll find out what's going on and really try to uncover maybe one or two of these core beliefs that are driving these feelings for you, and hopefully leave you with a great deal of insight and with a bit of several epiphanies and maybe some life-changing information. All right? So anyway, I want to thank you for watching. If you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, please like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you're watching live, thank you. If you're watching this on the replay, thank you as well. And I look forward to seeing you here. Take care.